As much as most of us are disgusted by what went down between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, the sad part is boxing is changing to be more of an entertainment, something so different from what we actually need boxing to be like.
Ryan Garcia said, "I'm tired of this. I'm stopping this shit, and it's my fault I started his boxing career. I should have never."
You should have got up off the floor when you got hit with a widow body shot, buddy.
Damn.
You fucking little pussy. Hey.
However, it seems that Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul might have actually woken up millions of fans. Here is a closer look at the biggest letdown of the decade.
Gervonta Davis just posted that he would beat the brakes off you. Would you guys like?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be down. Let's run it. Like, I'd be super down. I don't know.
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
Is there a height limit in boxing?
Netflix accidentally catching a flash of Mike Tyson's bare backside might have been oddly appropriate, but Mike Tyson tripping during his ring walk communicated way more. The fight, held at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, drew a massive crowd of 70,000 spectators, while millions more tuned in via Netflix, marking the platform's first live boxing broadcast. However, instead of the explosive action fans expected, they were treated to a slow, one-sided affair that left many disappointed or disgusted, to be more specific.
I don't pay any attention to it. We're fighting now. Nothing matters anymore.
What's your prediction?
Vicious win.
Vicious win. Thank you, Dad.
Love you.
Love you too.
At 58 years old, Tyson was far from his prime, so far that moving was trouble for him. Despite the hero's welcome he received upon entering the ring, it was clear from the start that the former heavyweight champion was struggling to keep up with his much younger opponent. Jake Paul used his youth and athleticism to his advantage, maintaining his distance with jabs and landing cleaner shots throughout the 8-round contest. Each round lasted only 2 minutes, which some believed was supposed to favor the older fighter, but that didn't seem to help Tyson at all.
What did you think of the fight?
It wasn't a good one.
It wasn't a good one. Yeah. Overall,
The fight's final scorecards read 80, 72, 79, 73, and 79, 73, all in favor of Jake Paul. The younger fighter dominated from start to finish, throwing a total of 78 punches compared to Tyson's meager 18. There were no knockdowns, and neither fighter appeared to be in real danger at any point. The Texas Commission had required both fighters to wear heavier gloves with extra padding, but the added protection seemed unnecessary given the lack of intensity in the fight.
Locked in, there was like no nerves, no adrenaline. Even though my body wasn't as good in shape because of my ankle sprain, I just mentally, everything's slowing down in the ring. I'm not getting as nervous and stuff like that. So that was
Did you
really
notice there's 75,000 people watching? Did that get you at all? How many people
Did I notice it? No, honestly, it's harder fighting in an arena because it's louder. In the stadium, it's not that loud.
Tyson appeared slow and sluggish, a shadow of the ferocious fighter who once ruled the heavyweight division. By the time the final bell rang, the crowd's excitement had turned into frustration, with many booing the outcome. In fact, some fans even left the arena before the scores were officially announced, signaling their dissatisfaction with what they had just witnessed.
Family's everything, but my kids, to my children, I'm nobody. But that night, they're gonna find out their father's very special.
The fallout from the fight didn't just come from the fans. It also drew harsh criticism from several boxing professionals who were less than impressed with what they saw. One of the most vocal critics was Terrence Crawford, who didn't mince words about the disappointing performance from Tyson. Taking to social media, Crawford expressed his frustration with Tyson's lackluster showing. He posted on X saying, "I love Mike Tyson, but they give him too much credit. He looked like trash. To train that long and only throw 97 punches the whole fight is crazy. I'm just glad he didn't get hurt out there." Another high-profile voice weighing in was Oscar De La Hoya, a 6th-division world champion and one of the most recognizable figures in boxing. De La Hoya, who watched the fight with a critical eye, echoed Crawford's sentiments, describing the event as horrible to see. Speaking on TalkSport, De La Hoya was blunt in his assessment. "The thing I find astonishing is that so many people bought into the fact that Tyson had a genuine chance. The prospect of a 58-year-old man doing anything to the level he used to, it's just not realistic."
You don't think Tyson is a serious opponent for him?
come on.
61 years. I saw him the other day. I love Tyson. I told him, he can punch. Of course, he's got a puncher's chance the first 3 rounds. I'm a little scared of Tyson getting hurt after the 3rd round.
De La Hoya went on to criticize the decision to sanction the fight as a professional bout, especially under conditions that clearly favored the younger fighter. In a hurt environment, it was fairly naked exploitation of a gullible public, he added, pointing out that fans were lured in by the nostalgic idea of Tyson making a comeback, only to be let down by the reality of his diminished capabilities. He didn't stop there. De La Hoya also took aim at Jake Paul, hinting that the YouTuber-turned-boxer was taking advantage of older fighters to boost his own career.
Nice, come on, punch him. Yeah.
As much as Jake Paul is getting on our nerves, he seems to be single-handedly dictating the future of boxing, De La Hoya remarked. But beating up old legends isn't going to earn him respect. It's just going to make people question the legitimacy of his so-called boxing career. Despite the criticism, Jake Paul seemed unfazed by the negative reactions. He was quick to declare his next target, once again calling out Mexican superstar Canelo Alvarez. Paul, who has made a career out of challenging big names and stirring up controversy, claimed that Canelo knows where the real money fight is and suggested that a showdown between them would be a massive event.
Hey, what did you think of the fight? What did you think of the fight? It was disappointing. Would you like to see it again? Would you like to see it? Would you like to see Mike Tyson fight again in the ring, an exhibition match against Brandon Holyfield? I always want to see Mike fight. Yeah? Is this kind of what you expected? He didn't get off fast. What could he done different? Did Jake Paul look a little bit slow to you?
But as much as we don't like all this, let's admit it. This is nothing new in boxing. You've seen it before, and you'll definitely see it again. Mike Tyson at 58 stepping into the ring with 27-year-old Jake Paul was just another chapter in the book of bizarre boxing matchups. Call it a cash grab, call it nostalgia, but let's not pretend this fight was ever meant to change the world of boxing. It was pure entertainment, and that's exactly what people paid to see.
Young guy, I'm fighting a guy with 10 fights. You know, he's sensational and he's hot, but fighting a guy with 10 fights, and I just think I can handle this situation.
You gonna knock him out?
I think I'm gonna hurt him, yes.
This fight wasn't about championship belts or titles. It was about making money. And yes, it delivered on that front. Tyson and Paul walked away with a combined $50 million for their troubles. The crowd of 70,000 at AT&T Stadium in Texas, plus millions watching on Netflix's first ever live boxing event, proved there's still an audience for these kinds of fights, no matter how ridiculous they might seem. Sure, there were plenty of critics out there, calling the fight an embarrassment, a shame, even a black mark on the sport.
Look, man, y'all had to know, like, y'all got to do the math. Like, you know, I get it, man. Mike is Mike, right? We all want Mike. Hold on, man. Oh, we got time. I ain't trying to get hit in this crosswalk. Mike is Mike. Mike's gonna talk the talk. He gonna have a look in his eyes, gonna make you believe, you know, I'm right there with you on that. But like, man.
But here's the truth. This kind of stuff has been happening for decades. Let's not act like Tyson stepping into the ring at his age is some brand new low for boxing. Remember Muhammad Ali, the greatest? He once fought a Japanese wrestler, Antonio Inoki, in a fight so bizarre, it made Tyson versus Paul look like a classic. Inoki spent the whole fight lying on his back, kicking Ali's legs, and it was all over some made-up rules. Ali still walked away with $6 million, so who's the real winner here?
Did you enjoy watching most of that fight? It was hard to watch, but it was always going to be like that. But it doesn't have to be. They're not making this for me. Look how many people turned up. Look how many people tuned in. So I can't knock it. It's just not for me. And that's not disrespectful. I love boxing. I don't want to see Mike Tyson stuck in quicksand. And he showed unbelievable heart, by the way. No one wants to see that.
If you think Tyson versus Paul was ridiculous, then you need to revisit some of the weirdest moments in boxing history. Remember when Oscar De La Hoya, one of the greatest of all time, fought NBA superstar Shaquille O'Neal? De La Hoya took on a guy who was more than a foot taller and outweighed him by 16 stone. And guess what? He still won on points. Or how about Tony Galento, the heavyweight who once knocked down Joe Louis, but later found himself fighting a kangaroo, a bear, and even an octopus in a giant tub? And let's not forget George Foreman, who fought 5 guys in one night just for publicity. So for all of us saying that Mike Tyson's legacy is tarnished, well, it's not.
Behind when it's all said and done.
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Mike Tyson's legacy is untouchable. He was the youngest heavyweight champion ever, a force of nature in the late 80s. For those who think this fight with Paul somehow ruins his reputation, let's take a reality check. Tyson's been through way worse in his life. The man's been to prison, bit off part of Evander Holyfield's ear, and once said he'd eat Lennox Lewis's kids. An exhibition match at 58 isn't even in the top 10 of his wildest moments, so no, this fight didn't ruin Tyson's legacy. If anything, it just added another wild chapter to his already crazy life story, and obviously doubled his net worth. Back to the fight. Most of the punches thrown by these two wouldn't have knocked over a toddler at a soft play center. It was clear from the get-go that Tyson was just there for the paycheck. Paul, on the other hand, looked like he was trying, but he's nowhere near elite-level boxing. Sure, he's improved a lot since his early days as a YouTuber, and he did show some skills when he fought Tommy Fury. But this fight, it was hardly a showcase of elite talent. The critics who say these types of fights take away from real boxing have a point. There's a concern that these celebrity matchups draw attention and money away from the serious fighters. But here's the flip side. These events also bring new eyes to the sport. And if some of that money trickles down to support up-and-coming fighters, then is it really so bad? Case in point, the real fight of the night was Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano, which was on the undercard. Now that was a fight worth watching. It was a back-and-forth war that showcased what boxing is all about.
For the first time probably ever in my life, I have no comment on something. That's Mike's world, and you know he gets pissed at me every time I talk about that stuff. Good for him.
The Tyson-Paul sideshow may have gotten people to tune in, but it's fights like Taylor versus Serrano that keep them coming back. But love him or hate him, Jake Paul isn't going away anytime soon. And even though he's busy calling Canelo, that fight might not happen anytime soon. This guy knows his limits. He's smarter than most people assume. Still, Paul's got a knack for getting people talking, and as long as he keeps drawing in huge crowds and pay-per-view buys, he's going to keep getting fights. The boxing purists may hate it, but for better or worse, Jake Paul has found a way to stay relevant in a sport that's always looking for its next big draw.
Oh, Jake, did you see Mike Tyson
dropping his sparring partner?
I was talking about, yeah, I fucking saw it. No shit, I saw it. And I don't give a fuck. Sure, he's looking good. Sure, he's looking all of that. Oh, he's dropping people. He's fast. So the fuck am I. People want the truth.
I don't think people want you to kill Mike Tyson.
At the end of the day, Tyson versus Paul was just another example of how boxing has always been part sport, part circus. These kinds of exhibition fights aren't new, and they're not going to ruin the sport. They're just another way for fighters to cash in on their fame long after their prime years are behind them. Jake Paul had a lot to say after his disappointing fight against the legendary Mike Tyson. According to Paul, it wasn't entirely his fault. He cited an injury and Tyson's age as the primary reasons the fight didn't live up to the hype. Right after the fight, Paul was quick to defend himself. In his post-fight press conference, he blamed a severe injury for his lackluster performance. According to Paul, just 2 weeks before stepping into the ring, he suffered a serious ankle injury. 2 weeks ago, I sprained my ankle, completely tore the ligament, anterior ligament, and snapped the other side of my foot, Paul revealed. He went on to say that he had been on crutches for nearly a week, which severely impacted his training camp. I was on crutches for 4 or 5 days, and it just hindered the end of my training camp. I don't know how it didn't get leaked or anything. I missed about 2 weeks of sparring, and that's why my cardio didn't really feel so good tonight," he explained. Paul's claims have sparked skepticism among fans and critics. Many questioned whether this was just an excuse for his underwhelming performance, as no prior hints of his injury surfaced before the fight. Whether Paul's injury was genuine or simply damage control for his reputation remains a topic of debate.
Why did he do that to you?
I didn't even feel it. He's angry. He's an angry little elf. Mike Tyson, I thought that was a cute slap, buddy, but tomorrow you're getting knocked the out. I'm him up, man.
Paul didn't just stop at his injury. He also pointed fingers at Tyson's age as a reason for the fight's lack of excitement. "I wanted to give the fans a show, but I didn't want to hurt someone that didn't need to be hurt," Paul stated. He mentioned that Tyson, now 58, simply couldn't keep up, and it showed as the rounds went on. "There was a point where Tyson was not engaging back. I could just tell his age was showing a little bit. That violence war thing, that went away as the rounds went on," Paul added. He admitted to holding back, not wanting to inflict damage on the aging icon. Critics, however, were not buying it. Many felt Paul was backpedaling, especially after all the pre-fight trash talk. Before the bout, he had promised fireworks and claimed he was ready to take Tyson down. Yet, during the fight, there was a noticeable lack of aggression from Paul, which led many to believe that the bout was nothing more than a glorified sparring session. On the flip side, Tyson's camp had a different take on the fight. Tyson's coach, Rafael Cordero, expressed pride in how Tyson prepared for the fight. "We worked for 7 months at this moment. I truly believed we had this victory before the fight. He never asked to give up," Cordero stated. He went on to praise Tyson's dedication, noting that despite his age, Tyson pushed himself through months of rigorous training. "He's the people's champ. He's inspired many people outside of the ring. The most important thing is that Mike is going back home to his loved ones," Cordero added.
Exactly. So when you, like that video when you were ripping the pads and working out with Rafael Cordero, how long into that was that? Like how quickly did you get your speed back? Was it right away?
No,
Was it right there?
that was our first day.
That was your first day?
That was our first day. Let's try this out. That was our first day.
Wow.
Even with this backing from his coach, Tyson didn't seem like the same ferocious fighter who once ruled the heavyweight division. There was a notable moment in the first round that had fans buzzing online. According to reports by 5-Star Preps, Tyson had a clear opportunity to land a knockout blow. However, instead of seizing the moment, he hesitated, leaving fans wondering whether the match was more for show than a genuine competition. Unsurprisingly, social media erupted with reactions after these details emerged, and most of them were not kind. Fans were quick to express their disappointment, calling the bout a circus show. One particularly frustrated viewer wrote, "Holy shit, Tyson versus Paul was an embarrassing show. Absolute doggas, who the F actually sanctioned?" Another fan sarcastically compared the effort it took to stream the fight on Netflix to the lackluster battle in the ring, saying, "My fight with Netflix to even stream Tyson versus Paul was a better fight than I witnessed in the ring." The general consensus was that the fight was staged, with many fans feeling cheated out of their money. Comments like, "The Jake Paul versus Tyson fight was totally staged and completely weak. The public was robbed," dominated online forums. It was clear that whatever entertainment value the fight was supposed to deliver fell flat, leaving fans with nothing but regret for tuning in. Despite the backlash, Jake Paul seemed unfazed by the criticism. He acknowledged the negativity but didn't seem too concerned about it. "People just love to hate me. I intentionally say things for people to hate. That's what I like to do," Paul said confidently. He even hinted at returning to the ring in a few months, saying, "If people want to see more, give me a couple of months. I tried to give the best fight I possibly could."
I'm not getting my bit off on Friday night, so I got my diamond spiked ear covers right there.
All right. While some may question Paul's motives and the legitimacy of his claims, there's no denying that he knows how to keep his name in the headlines. His ability to draw attention, whether positive or negative, continues to make him one of the most talked about figures in boxing today. And as long as people are willing to pay to watch, Jake Paul isn't going anywhere. As for Mike Tyson, this might have been his last dance in the ring. The former heavyweight champ showed glimpses of his old self, but age has undeniably caught up with him. Still, he remains a beloved figure in the sport, with many fans appreciating the effort he put into getting back into shape, even if the fight didn't turn out as expected. Tyson's coach, Cordero, seemed to echo the sentiment that this could be the final chapter of Tyson's boxing career, focusing more on the positive impact Tyson has had on his fans rather than the outcome of the fight itself. For Tyson, the love from his fans and the thrill of stepping into the ring one last time seemed to be worth it, regardless of the result.
And what would you lose if you lose this fight? Thank you.
I'm not gonna lose.
But just you say that in the last minute of the second.
I am not gonna lose. Did you hear what I said?
Thank you.
At the end of the day, Tyson versus Paul was a spectacle, not a serious boxing match. For the fighters, it was an opportunity to cash in, and for the fans, it was supposed to be a night of entertainment. Unfortunately for many, it fell short of expectations, leaving a sour taste in the mouth of boxing purists and casual fans alike. But as the saying goes, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Both Paul and Tyson managed to walk away with a hefty payday, and people are still talking about the fight, so maybe, just maybe, it was worth it after all. What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more updates. See you in the next one.